This is the true story of a man who wrote an angry letter to God and started the most extraordinary conversation of his life. God began talking to him, to us, through him. In the spring of 1992, a man sat alone in his home, his face etched with exhaustion and frustration. The man was at his breaking point. His marriage had crumbled, his career had stalled, he lost everything in a fire, and he'd recently survived a car accident that left him with a broken neck. As he sat at his cluttered desk, the weight of his struggles pressed down on him like a physical force. That night, he reached for his yellow legal pad, the same kind he'd used for years to write angry letters he never sent. But this time was different. This time, he wasn't writing to an ex-lover or a former boss. This time, he directed his fury at the ultimate source, God himself. His pen flew across the page in jagged, emotional strokes. Why wasn't my life working? What would it take to get it to work? Why could I not find happiness in relationships? Was the experience of adequate money going to elude me forever? Finally, and most painfully of all, what had I done to deserve a life of such continuing struggle? As he finished the last bitter question, something remarkable happened. His hand remained suspended over the paper, as if held by an invisible force. Slowly at first, then with increasing confidence, the pen began moving on its own. Words flowed onto the page, but they weren't his words. Do you really want answers to all these questions, or are you just venting? The man's breath caught in his throat. His first thought was that he'd imagined it. But when he tried to pull his hand away, the pen kept writing. The man's mind came up with a reply. Both. I'm venting, sure, but if these questions have answers, I'd sure as hell like to hear them. And the voice replied with these words, you are sure as hell about a lot of things. But wouldn't it be nice to be sure as heaven? The man quickly answered, what is that supposed to mean? What followed was one of the most extraordinary dialogue that would continue for years. Night after night, he returned to that legal pad. The answers came faster than he could write them, in a voice that was somehow both familiar and profound. Sometimes the responses comforted him. Other times they challenged everything he believed. But they always carried a depth of wisdom that left him humbled. What began as personal rant became something much greater. 3 years of these extraordinary conversations filled countless notebooks with insights about life, love, purpose, and our relationship with the divine. The man initially thought these messages were just for him, until he realized they contained universal truths that could help countless others. That man was Neil Donald Walsh, and these extraordinary dialogues became the foundation for Conversations with God, the groundbreaking book series that has touched millions of lives worldwide. Sometimes the most profound wisdom comes when we're brave enough to ask the hardest questions. Now is the time for you to know the ultimate truth. Now is the time for you to wake up and receive the divine messages that's meant for you. Yes, now is the time for you to begin connecting deeper with the God. Let it be so that the end of this video marks the beginning of your divine journey. Visit our channel God's Little Whispers to continue this amazing true story. If you find this intriguing, please like and subscribe to help us grow.